up, everybody? We back up in here, Hella Flagrant podcast. You already know what time it is. I'm your man, Flagrant DM. I'm in here with my brother, Sean B. Flagrant. We not even going to mess around with it, man. Week 12 of the NFL got some hella flagrant stories going on. We're going to start it right off at the top with Reuben Foster, man. We not even going I don't even want to play with the whole situation. Reuben Foster was arrested Saturday right here in Tampa Bay where I live. The night before the 49ers were supposed to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he was arrested on domestic violence charges. They were misdemeanor charges, which we later have learned that they were against his same girlfriend, Alicia Ennis, who he was in trouble with earlier this year and almost was released from the 49ers then. Following this arrest, Sunday morning, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan put out a statement saying that the 49ers had immediately released Reuben Foster. I jumped on the flagrantfoul.com, put out a story, Reuben Foster's released. I figured he was done in the NFL. Much to my surprise, this morning we get up and the Washington Redskins managed to prove me wrong.
Man.
And they just picked up Reuben Foster off waivers. Bruh,
I don't know. Desperate time goes for desperate measures, I guess, or calls for desperate measures. I don't know. I can't explain this. 72 hours right after Reuben Foster was released, like you said, by the 49ers, Washington Redskins pick him up immediately. Now, one thing I will say, the Washington Redskins do not have to play him, and they said that they will not play him until the court system goes through. So basically, it's kind of like they claimed him off waivers. They don't have to do anything with him as of right now. If he doesn't pass and the court system says that he is guilty of his, misdemeanor and it was for domestic violence, then he will be released.
Okay, but if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. You feel what I'm saying? Right. What else does he need to do to prove that his character is not even questionable at this point? Okay, so let's go back to college.
Right.
When he was at Alabama, got into trouble back then, right? NFL GMs overlooked it, shrugged it off. It's all right. We'll take you. Let's go. All right. Then you get a marijuana possession charge. Then you get this whole other domestic violence case. And that incident seemed to be pretty violent. From the description of that case, it seemed to be pretty violent. However, that situation managed to get reversed. The same girl in this case came and said she lied about everything, made it all up, and Reuben Foster was exonerated. John Lynch was happy to sign him, and now we're right back in the same situation. Again, Washington, I hear what you're talking about. We're going to wait to see what the case... Forget all that. Why do you even need for the details of the case to come out and say, okay, well, then once it happens, because even if, let's say she goes back and says, I lied about this situation too, are we really going to believe that?
No. I mean, I didn't believe it in the first place. Let's think about this, okay? The first time that he was arrested for domestic violence, at least as we know, when he was with the San Francisco 49ers, the case came out that he beat her eardrum to where she basically couldn't hear. He dragged her by her hair through the mud, hit her 8 to 10 times in the eardrum, like I said, busted her ear, and put an assault rifle on her. Now, I mean, that's pretty horrific to make up for anybody. I mean,
right.
The classic "he hit me" excuse could have worked in that sense, and they still would have looked into it. I mean, for somebody who said they drug you by the hair and pointed an assault rifle. Now, it did come out that he did have an assault rifle, and she did have messed up hearing. So that, it looks like it was truthful. Then later, like you said, it came out that she said she lied about it and she made the whole thing up. Now, I'm not going to sit here and speculate. I don't know the situation. I don't know her. I don't know Reuben Foster. But it sounds like from the situation that happened then to the situation that happened now, that the first time she did it, somebody came to somebody and said, look, I'm not going to get no money. If we're going to get back together, I got to have a job. So
Right.
if you keep this story up, I'm going to lose that. She made the lie up, or she came out and said he didn't do this, blah, 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 because they probably forgave each other right after it happened. Whatever. The 49ers actually told him to stay away from this woman. I don't think I've ever heard of an NFL team saying that somebody should actually stay away, keep their distance from another person, especially another woman. Now, you're on a road trip. You're not even expected to play in this game, okay? You show up to a Tampa hotel. There are 52 other men that are staying in that hotel room, including the coaches and the staff with you. You have 2 sets of floors that the 49ers vacate, okay? Now, she somehow shows up in another level of the hotel. Now, you can't stop anybody from buying a room. You can't keep anybody out, but the 49ers made it very clear that she was not on one of the floors that the 49ers vacated. So, what that means is that Reuben Foster intentionally went down to her room, which, whatever, we already knew that. And all this drama took place. Now, my thing is, in your head, Reuben Foster, knowing that this situation came up, why would you invite her to the hotel that your team is on? While if anybody walks out, including the coach, even sees that woman in the hotel and sees you around him, they're going to probably do something about it.
Right.
Secondly, why would you go to a room and make trouble? I don't know what the story was about, but if my coach was upstairs, I don't think I'm slapping anybody in the face.
Right.
Period, point blank. Now, maybe that's just me. I don't know. I don't know how the rest of the world feels, but I don't think I would put that on my plate.
And so there comes to be a couple of levels of things that need to be uncovered here, right? Because it just feels like Reuben Foster carried on as if he felt like, oh, I got off and I got a pass. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he felt like he had the team support as long as everything stayed hush-hush. You know what I'm saying? And that's just me. I could be wrong. He could have, this could be way outside of the team's knowledge, but I feel like Reuben Foster carried on as if to say, all right, we took care of this, and I'm gonna just keep carrying on because, as long as everything stays on the hush, the team is fine.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. That's been Reuben Foster's case throughout. I mean, I'm not going to say his whole life because I don't know the man, but his whole football career, at least from Alabama's sake. Mm-hmm. Getting arrested in Alabama. Nobody did anything with the police when he got arrested and busted for weed. Just let it go. Didn't pass his drug test at the NFL Combine. Tried to fight the person that gave him the drug test like it was her fault for having fake pee. Nothing happened. Another case, I think it was another marijuana charge when he was with the 49ers. Nothing happened. Gun charge with the 49ers. Nothing happened. Then he has domestic violence while he's pulling out assault rifles and pointing at women's head. Nothing happened. Well, 2 games, sorry. But they swept it right under the rug. Right. Now this. And you can say, okay, well, 49ers let him go, so he didn't get away with the consequences. Well, who just picked him up 72 hours later?
Right. At some point, the league's got to step in and say, wait, hold on. You know what? We can't allow this. He's got to spend at least a year away from football, away from all of this, go to rehab, whatever the case may be, and maybe the league will put you back through some evaluation system. But just because one team let him go, another team shouldn't be like, all right, well, it's cool. We'll just take him. It's fine. Right. You know what I mean? We don't care about none of that stuff. It didn't happen over here. We'll just take him. Because the other thing that it leads to, and the second point I want to bring up is another guy that played for my team, and I guess I'm so passionate about this because Rueben Foster plays for my team, and I was really hoping the 49ers would get a win in Tampa. There was a lot of other reasons we lost that game. Rueben Foster had nothing to do with it.
No, Rueben Foster didn't have anything to do with that game.
But another player that the 49ers kind of swept too much under the rug with was Aldon Smith. And we saw what happened with Aldon Smith. Aldon Smith went way too far. And I have a feeling that Rueben Foster may be going down that same path. And if Washington's not careful, they're going to be ending up with a dude wandering around D.C. barefoot with a shotgun, saying that he plays for their team. Like, what is going on?
Well, I mean, I have the same concern, obviously. I mean, Alden didn't play as long for the Raiders as he did for the 49ers. Obviously, he was a monster when he did play for the 49ers, and that's why his talent, he was given so many chances because people wanted him to be great, but Alden couldn't get out of his own ways. Same case like you said with Reuben Foster. I'm not saying that they're the same person. I'm not saying Reuben can't learn from this, but we've seen Alden self-destruct in front of our very eyes. I mean, he lives out here in the Bay Area still, and he can't get right while not playing football. The NFL had to basically ban him from playing because too many times Alden kept messing up. I mean, who shows up to their alcohol testing drunk? And not just drunk. They said he was like 4 times over the legal limit. Do you really think you're going to pass an alcohol test when you're drunk?
But to me, again, like it relates to the Reuben Foster thing that I just brought up. Alden Smith, to me, carried on as if he felt like, well, I could just get away with it because I'm so used to people sweeping things under the rug for me. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And I think Reuben Foster is that way. And I think a lot of guys are getting conditioned to feel that way about the NFL and professional sports. It's like, all right, well, as long as I do this, I can do this. As long as I do this, I can do that.
But why should they not? I mean, we just talked about this earlier, and I'm going to bring it to you guys, the listeners, to understand this. Alden Smith, who I just talked about, basically just got a slap on the wrist. Same situation, same thing, domestic violence with his girlfriend, same thing. 4 charges, domestic violence. All 4 of them were misdemeanors, but entrapment, all types of stuff that he got on it with the legal system on that situation. They basically came out yesterday, and they gave him 90 days in jail, which is already accredited that he's already, I guess, served when he did his alcohol rehabilitation thing. But he left that, first of all.
Right.
Let's be clear. He left that.
He walked away from the alcohol.
He walked away of that, but they gave him the 90 days credit for that, and they gave him 3 years probation, which everybody in the world gets for anything that they do when they get arrested, and 25 hours of community service. 25 hours, so basically a full day or three full days of work. But let's be honest, he's not going to do anything because he can't be outside, around the public. You're not going to see him on the side of the freeway or anything like that. Alden Smith will just be sitting there in a room and going to write him a note, and he's probably just going to sit there and watch TV or talk to somebody, and that's it.
And that's it.
And that's it.
And that's it. And that's again, I don't make the rules for the NFL. I don't uphold the rules for the NFL or for professional sports players or whatever the case may be. But you are creating a culture and not creating, it exists. You are continuing to allow a culture of, hey, I can do what I want without any consequences to go on when you let this kind of stuff happen. And again, people make mistakes. I've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. People make mistakes. You feel what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? If you're not learning nothing from it, if you're continuing to make the same mistake over and over again, how much rope do you give somebody? And you're paying them millions of dollars. It's not like I'm just letting you off the hook and you're going to go make minimum wage. I'm forgiving you and you're making millions.
Right. And that's why they won't learn, because I mean, if you're giving them so much money and you're just telling them, you know what, you just got to get better. You just got to do this. You got to do this. But it's okay because we need you to go get this first down real quick. It's not going to help anything because as long as this person knows, as long as he puts something on the field when he does play. See, that's another thing. You're doing all this, but you're taking games away from him. But he's like, well, when I do play, I make you money. So what you want me to do?
Well, and I get it. I mean, the Redskins are second in the AFC East, only to their rivals, the Cowboys, right now, and so a good defensive stance could get them a wild card shot.
I mean, the Cowboys can't say nothing because they got some criminals on their team too.
Right.
So
right. So I get it, Washington. You need a linebacker. I completely understand. Somebody else brought this up, and this will be the last point I make on this whole situation, and we'll move far from it. But Reuben Foster, under all the legal trouble that he's been in, right,
has
been hurt too. hasn't even really played the last couple of weeks, has been hurt, picked up on waivers by the Redskins immediately after an arrest, right?
Right.
Redskins needed a quarterback, but Colin Kaepernick couldn't get a workout, though.
It's true.
You'll take a criminal, a woman beater, failed drug tests, holding the assault rifles,
right?
Who is hurt.
It's crazy. It's crazy because if you hear Colin Kaepernick when they say, okay, now they got Colt McCoy because Alex Smith just got hurt. Who's back up? Alex Smith in his previous time, obviously, Colin Kaepernick. But you think about it, you're like, well, there's no way that Colin Kaepernick will ever be able to play in Washington, D.C. Like, that makes no sense. Right. How does it make sense for a man with domestic violence to play there, though? Like, that's the problem with this. Like, it's like a
fresh case, too, though. Like, we ain't even been to trial. Like,
it's exactly correct. He hasn't been to trial. We don't know what's going on with Reuben Foster
at all.
I don't even know if he's out of jail, to be honest with you. I mean,
even if he
just called him on the phone.
If he is, we don't even know if he can play because he's hurt. So, like, y'all put a hurt man on waivers. Like, okay, we'll take him. But no, Colin Kaepernick, we not even going to look at you, bro. We can't do that taking a knee and standing up for your rights stuff. That ain't it over here.
It's way more an offense. That's way more an offense than domestic violence, obviously.
Well, I mean, again, the other thing is if you're on a team called the Redskins, obviously you don't care about how people feel about anything because that's just derogatory in and of itself, but we ain't going to go there.
Yeah, we can't touch that.